Ron Burgundy is off tonight. I'm Veronica Corningstone. If you're an adult with hypertension, congestive heart failure, or the need to improve your survival after an acute myocardial infarction, then you're going to want to listen up to tonight's top story. It involves scientists who have created a drug whose generic name is Lisinopril. You may be more familiar with its trade names, which include Prenavil, Zestril, Tensopril, or even Hipril if you're from India. You chemistry nerds out there may recognize this drug as N2-1S1-carboxy-3 phenylpropyl L, lysol L, proline dihydrate. Try saying that 5 times fast. This drug, Prenavil, is an angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, also known as an ACE inhibitor, which we'll learn more about in a minute. If you don't have hypertension, congestive heart failure, or acute myocardial infarction, don't tune out yet. Prenavil could also be prescribed off-label for prevention of migraine headaches and for kidney problems in people with scleroderma. If you don't have any of these issues still, you probably will in the future, considering cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death in America. So pay attention. We'll now go over to our weatherman, Brick, with the forecast.
Thanks, Veronica. What we have here is the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. This all starts with a decrease in blood pressure. This signals the kidney to release an enzyme called renin. The liver is also releasing a hormone called angiotensinogen. These two react, creating angiotensin 1. As angiotensin 1 is going through the lungs, it comes in contact with the angiotensin converting enzyme, or ACE. This reacts with the angiotensin 1, creating angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 goes to the arterioles, causing vasoconstriction. We don't want that increase in blood pressure. Coming up this way, you have angiotensin 2 going to the adrenal cortex, which releases aldosterone. Aldosterone goes to the kidneys, increasing sodium absorption. How do we stop all this? Well, we have this ACE inhibitor, Prenavil or Lisinopril, works by inhibiting this angiotensin converting enzyme. This interferes with the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Without angiotensin 2, there is no vasoconstriction, therefore decreasing in blood pressure. How else do we decrease blood pressure? Well, over here, by the kidneys, we have 2 different types of diuretics. The first one, hydrochlorothiazide, works by inhibiting the distal convoluted tubules from reabsorbing sodium and chloride. This other one, bumetanide, works by inhibiting the reabsorption of sodium and chloride in the loop of Henle, proximal and distal convoluted tubule. Down here, we have a calcium channel blocker. Amlodipine benzoate works by inhibiting calcium ion influx into the smooth muscle vasculature, causing vasodilation, decrease in blood pressure. Back to you.
Thanks, Brick. I hope that's not in my futures forecast. We'll now go over to Melba, who's at the M deck, for more information.
Yes, Veronica, I'm here at the M deck at Georgia State, where my team of undercover investigators have just discovered that Prenavil can cause severe harm or death to a developing fetus. So if you are pregnant and you're taking Prenavil, please discontinue the use of this drug immediately. However, Prenavil is safe for children ages 6 to 16, as long as the dosage is appropriate. So check with your doctor before you give Prenavil to your child, or if you are unsure about the correct dosage. Back to you, Veronica.
Thanks, Melba. Now over to Chris for a first-hand look at the effects of Prenavil.
This is Chris with your daily sports report. Last night, the Orlando Aces lost to the Atlanta Inhibitors 23-21. It was a high-pressure game that got the entire crowd's heart pumping faster than a prairie fire with a tailwind. Whammy! But today's top story is a report on a local bowling team that has unexpectedly risen to the top after what seemed to be an unusual endorsement deal. The West End Holy Rollers have been together for almost 5 years, and since then they've finished last in their league every year. Things seem to have turned around for them this season, however, as they currently sit top of the table halfway through the season. The team contributes their success to a deal they made in the off-season with Prinavil, an angiotensin-converting enzyme or ACE inhibitor made by Merck Pharmaceuticals. You know, most people think that bowling is a fun and laid-back sport, but it can get tense quickly. With the high stress in combination with the cornucopia of beer and nachos, we were pushing a team average BP of almost 160 over 95. One day we got a call from the representatives at Prinavil telling us about their new drug that would help decrease that hypertension. We were hesitant at first, but we eventually agreed to try it and be spokespersons for the drug. We've never bowled better in our lives, I'll tell you that much. It's a Cinderella story, and only time will tell if the Holy Rollers will be crowned champions by the end of the season. I followed up with the Holy Rollers team physical therapist to find out more about how Prinavil is affecting his players. Well, with most of our guys pushing a weight close to 300 pounds, we thought about changing some things up this season to try and better our game. These ACE inhibitors are mainly targeted to adults with hypertension, which fits every one of our players. Of course, throughout the game I like to check their respiratory rate, their pulse, their BP to make sure they're not dropping too fast from all that physical activity and risk fainting mid-bowl. But you could tell that as they continued taking the prescribed amount of 5 to 20 milligrams once daily by mouth, their BP would drop and their scores would go up. It's a win-win. The only issue we've had with Lisinopril is a dry, persistent cough, dizziness, hypertension, fatigue, myalgia, dyspepsia, musculoskeletal pain, diarrhea, hypokalemia, hyperkalemia, rash, hyperuricemia, urticaria, hypoglycemia, photosensitivity, hypomagnesia, hypercalcemia, hypophosphatemia, hyponatremia, and sexual dysfunction. It's a small price to pay for that elusive Greater Atlanta Bowling League Championship trophy. That it is. That it is. Well, that's all we have for you today in the world of sports. Back over to you, Veronica.
Thanks, Chris, for that inspiring story. Who knew bowling was such a high-stress sport? This just in. Breaking news from the Waffle House. We'll go over to Melba for more details.
Yes, Veronica, breaking news brought to you from the Waffle House, where I just met a man who described to me his shocking side effects after taking Prinavil. Listen to these. Anaphylactic reactions, angioedema of the head, neck, and intestines, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, toxic epidural necrosis, severe hypotension, renal impairment, failure, hepatotoxicity, neutropenia, agranulocytosis, pancreatitis, SIADH, harm, death to a developing fetus, and major fetal congenital malformations. People, if you are taking this drug, this is serious. If you experience any of these side effects or all of these side effects, you might happen to be dead. But if you're not dead, please consult your doctor immediately. Back to you, Veronica.
Wow, those are some serious side effects. Well, that's it for the 6 o'clock news tonight. For all of us here at GSU News, I'm Veronica Corningstone. You stay classy, Georgia State.